evening. Welcome to the Southeast Tennessee Friday Night Pressbox podcast presented by Team FYN Sports. Joined now, as always, by Jeff Cate at the Jeff Cate on Twitter and Coach Mark Stone. Guys, how you doing tonight?
Doing great.
Doing good.
Friday night.
Same. Whatever Coach Stone said, for sure.
Guys, fall is in the air. I mean, it hit today. Front come through after the rain. It's about 60 degrees outside, and it's football. Football weather. I mean, you just can't. It's perfect outside. So, a big show tonight. We've got some of Jeff Cate's closest friends from the Red Zone, and Coach Stone. That'll be a treat. I mean, it's going to be good. Then the second segment we'll have a local TSSAA high school referee. These guys don't get thanked enough. I do college baseball, I umpire college baseball, I umpire high school baseball. It's a thankless job. You get yelled at. The way I say it is we make 50% of the people mad 100% of the time. And that's what it is. One sideline's mad at you the whole night or part of the night, whatever. But it'll be good to talk to an official and really thank him and really thank all the officials, because without the officials the game wouldn't go on. And simply that's what it comes down to. North Georgia's had to cancel some football games or move football games simply due to officials, a shortage of officials. So that'll be a good segment there. Then we'll have our recap of last week in the third segment and a preview of this week. So, but right now, we're pleased to be joined by some of the guys from 102.3. Jeff Cate, some of your closest friends. So go ahead and introduce them.
Well, we'll definitely use that term loosely here for these two gentlemen right here. Obviously, the Cowboy Joe Varner and the guy that is with me on site every week for our game of the week, and that is Justin Sims. And boys, just want to thank you for joining us here tonight. What's going on? How you guys doing?
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, I will say, I just want to say, friend might be a bit too close there, but no, I'm just kidding. Jeff's a great guy and good to work with, so it's good to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me.
Now, Justin, go ahead and tell the truth based on what Joe just said there about me, right?
I've been insulted. I guess you could have said something about my mom, but being called Jeff Cate's friend is one of the worst things anyone could ever say. I'm
true.
Forced with them every Friday night. It's just a seemingly endless torture. So, but other than that, things are okay over here on my end.
And I do want to, give a shout out to the other guy of this crew who couldn't be here tonight, Kurt Tucker. And as he's probably expecting, we're probably going to dog him quite a bit on this podcast, and we know he won't listen, so he won't hear anything we have to say. So fire away.
Kurt Tucker?
Yeah, for Kurt Tucker, of course.
What's there to say about Kurt? I mean, he does very little, and he's on our payroll. I'll say that, I guess. So I guess that's a good thing to say. Yeah, we love Kurt too. He's all right.
Yep, I think it definitely takes a team effort for sure. Every facet of the show. But I guess let's just start, Joe. I mean, you're our, as we joke, our resident old man on the Red Zone. You've been there the longest, and this is year 28 of this program. Just kind of talk about how you got involved. I mean, me and Justin have heard this, but for our listeners and our viewers out there, just kind of talk about how you got involved, not just with the Red Zone, but I guess talk radio as well, and kind of, how you like doing. I know it's a commitment, all day work on Friday and then spend 3 more hours on a Friday night talking about high school football. Just kind of talk about all those things if you can.
Sure. I'll make it as short as possible. I started at the radio station in 1999, January of 99. And at the time I had a buddy who worked there. His radio name was Too Hard to Handle Randall. And, he just called me out of the blue, asked if I needed a job. And at the time I needed a job. So started at the radio station and started the first year I was just working weekends, doing running the board for infomercials and weekend shows and filling in during the week when they needed me. And then the year 2000 hit and I started, my friend left. So I started running the board for Sport Talk. And then after that, it's just been the evolution of, the Cowboy has it's just we are where we are today. And I'm not sure what that means, but we're here.
There you go. And I guess, Justin, let's just throw it to you as well. Kind of talk about, your background as well. I mean, I think you've probably been a part of this thing for 5 or 6 years now. Just kind of talk about how you came into this fold and part of this clown show / rodeo that happens every Friday night on Talk Radio.
Yeah, I think this is my 6th or 7th year. Kind of met Jeff Kate through my father, actually, through some other stuff that they worked together, and then just kind of mentioned it to me like, hey, I do this Friday night football stuff. You should check it out. And then, I have a true unbridled passion for concessions, hot dogs, nachos, popcorn, just general concessions. And the ambiance, the esprit de corps of a football game, a live venue. So the opportunity to go see live football, and to be honest, at the time it was a girlfriend. Now it's a wife, but to be like, hey, honey, I'm going to work, and you're actually just going to watch a football game is a pretty good trade-off when it comes to, having to go to work every Friday night.
I have a question. You just said concessions, hot dogs, nachos, everything. Best concession stand food and worst concession stand food, no matter, of all the places you've been, which places had the best concession stand food and which places had the worst?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. Some of these Monster Jam venues and things, but as far as concerts, obviously, every concessions, it really touches us on all aspects of our lives, which is great. And my lighting is terrible. I apologize. I'm sitting on the bedroom floor right now, trying to figure this whole thing out. But
of course,
I think not necessarily the best, but just having a range of options. Somewhere around, if you're talking about locally high school level, there are certain schools, Red Bank, for example, like they'll do the hot dogs, but then you've got chili and cheese and lettuce, tomato, pickle, mustard, onions, just anything you can throw on top of that sucker. And, it costs you $2 or $3. It's really the best deal on a Friday night. I tell people all the time, I'll usually once a year get on there and just say, hey, take your wife, girlfriend, significant other down to your local, even if it's not your school or your thing, and just, have a cheap date night. But, hot dogs at Neyland obviously are soft to me, but the new, it's kind of I've been going to Neyland Stadium for 30 years of my basically 40 years of life. And they did the old Neyland dogs where it was a gluten's mustard packet. I think they did ketchup at the time, and it was in the packet. You had just some frat boy throwing it to you, from just one of the worst looking boxes of filth and decay you've ever seen. But I'll tell you, that was, and maybe just a childhood thing, but that was the best tasting dog to this day. And I'm sure it was just boiled in some water. But I think a lot of that's just the nostalgia that just going to that, so parts of Neyland are still bad, but you go to those dingy areas and you just, some of the, it's just kind of like Joe can speak to this, but some of your dingiest diners and dives and drive-throughs are kind of your best food. So to me, that's the best. And then some of the worst, just when you order something expecting a level of whatever, like I've gotten raw chicken wings before, and undercooked food or stale chips. So to me, there's not one that jumps out as far as being the worst. But I know I've had several instances where you're like, this is not cooked or whatever, but it's, you chalk it up to a loss. I don't want to be a Karen and go back to the thing and demand my $17 back for a bag of chips or something, which I probably should. But that'd be the other gripe, is the expense to it all. But yeah, I just think the anything nostalgia. Yeah, you have your hometown dog, or what we used to do it. Mom used to cook it this way. But to me, the best concession stand food is the old smoky dog at Neyland, the old one, like pre-1990. Pre-Sodexo, which is about 1998, 1997, I think, is when they came on board. So,
what I love about this segment is me and Coach Stone have not stopped smiling. This is great. Coach Stone, go ahead if you got any questions for the guys.
You had to go in Neyland and buy 2 dogs and a Coke, every time you went in there. Then you had about 4
before you even
dogs.
sat down.
Yeah.
And that was when they don't do it much, especially at Neyland. I know there's some venues, but that's when they had the guy hawking up and down those stairs with the chain around his neck, throwing you Cokes and hot dog. You didn't even have to get out of your seat back in those days. Didn't need a cell phone or nothing. You could just flag down the guy and have the, you hand your dollar bill to the guy next to you, and they pass it down, and they pass you a change. That's one of those memories you just don't see it that much at any of these venues, professional. Otherwise, it's all get on your phone and download the app and have some girl come out and type it into her computer. But back in the day, it was just holler at the 6 to 14-year-old boy at the end of the alleyway and have them chuck you a dog. Some of the best catches I ever saw in Nia Stadium were a smoky dog going, 15 seats in.
You want to lay some money down. Take your 5-year-old son, sit in seats 1 and 2 there on the aisle, and every time hot dog, about you buy about $50 worth of hot dogs with that 5-year-old.
Oh yeah.
But I guess Joe, this is kind of going back to you. I mean, people probably at some point or another over the last 20 years have heard about what the Red Zone is and what we do. Just for anybody that has not, for some unknown reason why, has not caught us either on the air or on the internet or social media, kind of talk about kind of just the format of the show. I mean, obviously it's 8 to 11, so everybody knows that, but just kind of talk about what the format is. And like you said, we're kind of just going with the flow, whether it's on site or with you guys in the studio, because technical issues happen, or we have rain out games or lightning delays. Just kind of talk about kind of the flow or the format of the show for those who don't know what we do.
Sure. Every segment we try to get a scoreboard in there, so keeping the listeners updated on obviously any updates on big time games. And we have you guys on. We have you, Jeff, with our updates from our game of the week, and of course the most important part, at least he would say so, Justin Sims' concession stand report at our game of the week always brings the house down.
Well, it's like it's like that one call and that 3-hour segment brings the whole is the anchor of that Red Zone ship for sure. I
do sometimes worry about Justin, because there are games where he's calling like with 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and I'm like, did he have a bad reaction to some concession stand or something? I'm not real sure, but he always Justin does a fantastic job, and Jeff does a fantastic job with our updates from our game of the week. And it's basically, we try to keep it moving. It's a fast show. There's no standing still, so to speak. It's all about the scores. We take phone calls. We're putting scores in our website, and they shoot out via Twitter. So it's a constant searching for scores and making sure you have the right scores. But that's 3 hours of what we do right there. It's go, go, go. Get as many phone calls as we can, talk to you as much as we can, talk to Justin only once, and keep it at that point. And then, that's the show in a nutshell. It's just go, 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 and get as many scores as we can out there.
Now, Justin, I'll throw this to you. That's a lot of the studio side as well. Like you said, finding scores, and getting them out there as quick as you can, getting people calling in from games. It's kind of, obviously I could say what we do, but I want to hear it from your perspective. Just kind of talk about, what our process is and how we, getting there, finding the good places and all that good stuff. Just kind of talk about what kind of the on-site stuff is on the Red Zone, getting prepared for 3 hours of call-ins and social media postings, all that stuff.
Yeah, obviously I won't reveal all our secrets and all the pregame rituals and just the amount the amount of shots that Jeff Cates takes. I'm not talking COVID vaccines, just to get the courage up to call in somebody like the venerable cowboy. It's very intimidating. So I guess that's why Jeff Cates such a booze hound before all the game. I didn't mean to say booze hound. He just anyway back.
Watch
I digress. We get there early. It's a process. You kind of figure out the parking situation. And for us, rolling up T-shirts and getting contacting PA guys or coaches or athletic directors. And, Jeff really is the best in the business about just like knowing matchups, knowing games that matter, knowing, off the field stories. And so you look for if there is a conflict or if there is a new coach or a new character on scene, you kind of try to locate where they're going to be at. And of course, the most important part, you scout out, whether the grill is charcoal or gas, flame, wood. You meet the grill master. That's more of what we do. I know as a fan, you probably don't get that back. The most important thing for me is say, hey, I want to introduce myself to the concession stand people, so maybe they'll throw me a couple of free bags of chips or a hot dog or, just complimentary. It does not affect the score of the Golden Wiener, which we haven't really touched on here tonight, but we do the Golden Wiener Award. It is the most coveted award in all of high school football, especially in this region. And it goes to the schools. The schools are real proud of it. They display it proudly. And so we like to give that out every week. And right now, Boy Buchanan is the unofficial leader because they got disqualified.
Shocker.
For me being a alumnus there, above board. But yeah, we have a very intricate rating system on the Golden Wiener, which does drive the fan base to the radio program, which does, help these kids out ultimately because they do talk about football a little bit on there. But yeah, we like to get there. You get to meet the crowd. And I just love, I think Jeff Cade agrees. Just a live sporting venue. You literally can feel the energy in some places, and there's places that Jeff Cade and I will talk to in June and July, saying like, "Oh man, we like this. We gotta find a way to get to South Pittsburgh, or let's find a way to get to Signal Mountain, or let's find a way to get out to Ray County, or there's just so many good venues around here, and they get." The equipment game with the pads and helmets and pants and Nike and Under Armour. Like, I think the last 2 or 3 years, that game has elevated so much to where I don't know if you get a great appreciation, because I know Coach and Wes, the older guys, you think back to the old Riddell helmets with this 1 or 2 maybe variations of a face mask and everybody had the same size shoulder pads and holes in your jerseys, and your garter belts, your garters are sideways, your jock straps in your kneecap, and well, some of us have that problem, Joe. But just stuff like that's fun. Being on the scene, like I said, the lights, the sounds, seeing the pretty girls, seeing the outfits, it's all just, it's great. Football, high school football is it's something being 40 years old is something that as long as I'm able to get around, if I have a kid there, a grandkid, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to get down to my local venue and try to catch a Friday night football game every once in a while.
Now, just a quick follow up on that. I'll throw this to both of you guys. Now, Joe, obviously, I know you're stuck in that box for 3 hours every Friday night, and I'll throw this to Justin as well. Give me your favorite local high school football environment. I know, Joe, you're probably going to want to lean Ray County, and I know Justin's going to want to say Boyd Buchanan, but just kind of give us both, I guess, your top 1 or 2 favorite high school football environments around here that you like going to when you get a chance.
Well, sticking with Ray County, because obviously I would pick that, but I think there's 3 that stand out as far as I'm concerned. It's been so long. I might go to 1 game a year just because of doing the show and hitting some playoff games. But South Pittsburgh is definitely one of those. You got to have South Pittsburgh in there. I think Sequatchie County. It's obviously they don't have a tradition like South Pittsburgh has, but the setting there, the stadium, it's just a beautiful place to see a football game. And Bradley Central. I think Bradley Central, that's just the way that stadium's set in, and the tradition there. All those are really great places to see a football game, and there's so many more out there. So many places I've yet to attend just because of what we do, but I can't wait to get out there and see more.
How about you, Sims?
I'm going to be kind of boring because I agree with Joe. Sequatchie's great. I like, especially recently, but when they do that Macaulay Baylor game, it's probably not a popular opinion. I know the preps or whatever get a bad rep around here, but like driving into that Baylor campus is beautiful. Obviously, it's capacity only. There's a small place over there. They can have that game at Finley and fill the place up, but when they do it at Baylor, and those 2 teams are good, and it's a cool environment. It's a beautiful school, beautiful campus. But I think my top has got to be South Pittsburgh. I mean, the Railbirds, as we call them, the fans that get there, they're there every game we're there. And I don't know how, the all-time great was when Jeff Cate and I were standing. It was one of South Pitt. It may have been the year Vic left, and they had what's his name there for the year, and they were getting beat. They were down. And this woman, I mean, I'm talking a upper mid-40s woman with 3 to 4 kids latched on her, maybe one in the belly. And you're talking about 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. And she's like, come get some of this. Y'all want some titty milk? Because y'all playing like a bunch of babies. And to me, to this day, of all the venues I've been to, of all the heckles I've heard from NFL first-round draft picks to Nissan Stadium to Neyland Stadium to the Swamp, like, to me, that one was the greatest all-time fan heckle I've ever heard in my time. I don't think it'll ever be topped.
But well, guys, we got to end this real quick. But just give us your how we follow y'all on Twitter and all that good stuff before we jump out of here.
It's a good time to get out. Yeah, good time. You can follow me on Twitter at Sports Cowboy, and there you go. Yeah, give me a follow.
Hey, Cowboy.
Yes, sir.
You know the guy name that calls in all the time from Copper Basin, son-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
You know, son-in-law.
I think I met him.
I wonder if he's still called in.
Hey, well, I hear from him every now and then.
He's a good friend of mine. He's a great guy.
Awesome.
We had won a ball game at South Pittsburgh one night, and one of you guys, I don't know who it was, this probably been 10, 15 years ago, somebody come down through there and they said, son-in-law wants to speak to you. I didn't know who he was, but I listened to y'all every Friday night, and I always heard son-in-law call in. I didn't know, but
we've been blessed to have some really good callers and fans to stick with us all these years. It's been a blessing.
Yeah. How about you, Sims? How they follow you on social media if they want to?
Yeah, at JL Simsy for the best content on Twitter. I keep all my other stuff private because my beautiful bride and children are on there, and I don't want anybody trying to abduct them or whatever. But yeah, at JL Simsy on Twitter. And yeah, some of the characters from the show, we could have a whole other show just talk about these characters. But yeah, I appreciate it, Wes, for having us on, Coach. Good to meet you and all this. And you guys got a good one there with Jeff. I don't like to compliment the guy too much, and I will hand to God swear that there's very few people in this area, North Georgia, Southeast Tennessee, that know the reach and know the high school, know the teams, know the coaches, know the players better than Jeff Cate. And that's the nicest thing I'm ever going to say about it. I'm actually kind of getting sick to my stomach having just said that, but he is pretty good and knowledgeable. So if any of you guys ever have any kind of questions, I'd direct them towards that man right there.
I appreciate that.
He's definitely good, and we are have him on the podcast as one of our own. So, Miles, we appreciate you coming on and talking a little bit about the red zone, and of course the famous concession stand. And I really want to know who wins the Golden Wing in the year. I really do. So.
It's everybody wants to know, and it's a season-long game. It's a Game of Thrones. It's a Clash of Champions. It's a Battle of Wills. But there will be one grill master that holds the golden weenie at the end of the day, and it's a proud day for that man.
Could it possibly come down to the last week of the season?
Always does.
It could. It has before. Yeah, well, you should see the lines of people on that Week 12 game or whatever when the Wienermobile pulls up out front, and it's the unofficial Wienermobile. I have been asked to stay 500 feet from the official Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, and I'm legally there to say that Oscar Mayer does make a great product, and I take back I'll just leave it at that. My lawyers don't want me to go anymore. But when the unofficial Wienermobile rolls up, which is my 2012 Mazda, the fans there, they start beating on the hood. Jeff Cate's been roughed up a time or two. It gets ugly, but we're going to keep pushing through to provide that content that the fans really crave, much like they crave the golden wiener.
That is awesome.
On that note, yeah.
But yeah. Thanks for coming on, and we appreciate you all and what you all do for high school sports. So thanks for coming on, guys.
You guys are this show.
Thanks so much, guys. Y'all have a great
night.
Wes,
Coach, Cate, thank y'all.
See you, man. We'll see you Friday.
All right.
Guys, what a segment there. Let me tell you, we needed a wider segment on this podcast, and they provided that, man. That was fantastic.
I mean, honestly, I know we got to go to break real quick, Wes, but that right there is, if you want to know what the red zone's about, that happens every Friday night. That happens in our group text. I mean, that's just that in a nutshell. Obviously, we like to have a good time and talk about high school football. We also like to, dig at each other. I mean, what's life you can't dig at your friends, right? So,
you're right.
right after the break, we're going to have a special guest, one of my good friends, Shane Rowe. He's a football official. Like I said, earlier, guys that don't get thanked enough. That you make 50% of the people mad 100% of the time, and it'll be nice to talk to him and pick his mind a little bit about officiating. Let me tell you, he's good. He can answer all your questions. And so we'll be right back after this break on the Friday Night Press Box presented by Team FYN Sports. Welcome back to the Friday Night Press Box presented by Team FYN Sports. Joined right now by a TWSAA official, Mr. Shane Rowe. Shane, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you, Wes?
I'm doing good. First off, appreciate you coming on. Talk to you a little bit this afternoon. I had a late dropout from the podcast. I knew I could text you, and I've been thinking about having an official on for the past little bit. Like we said, just a thankless job. So talk a little bit about how you got into officiating and really what started that path there.
Well, my officiating career started about 11 years ago. Started with youth baseball and went into high school baseball. Been doing high school baseball for about 10 years and got into basketball and now into football. Been in football about 3 years. And I have to say, boy, there's something about them Friday night lights. I mean, there's just an atmosphere that you just can't believe out there. I mean, it's fun, that's for sure.
And I've seen you firsthand on the baseball field. You're a good official. What is what's probably the hardest thing about football, compared to other sports, baseball, basketball, or is it easier? In your opinion, what is that?
Well, tell you what, the hardest thing about officiating any game is not watching the game. You're still a fan. I don't care. I mean, if you're officiating sports, you're a fan, and you got to put watching the game aside and do your job as an official. You've got an area to watch on the field. You got things that you're trying to do and control, and it's just hard not to get wrapped up in it sometimes. I mean, you like to see good hits on Friday nights, you like to see big plays, but you've still got a job to do while you're out there, and you got to try to do that to the best of your ability.
Yeah, I was going to say I can kind of relate to that a little bit on the media side, Shane. It's like you're there to cover a game, at least on the media side, and like you just said with a big hit, like you see a big hit, and you kind of just want to go, oh, have your natural reaction like any fan would. But yeah, that's definitely a good point. I just had a quick question. You said you've been a football official for the last 3 years. What has been, I guess, your favorite environment to officiate a game in? And I'm not going to say what's been the roughest, but let's just say the most unique atmosphere as far as that goes that you've experienced so far in your time as an official.
Well, just as far as there's not one certain school that I'll say has been my favorite to be to, but I did get to work the Meigs County South Pittsburgh game last year. And that was a fun game to be involved in. I mean,
it was.
You had number one and 1A. You had number 2 and 2A going head to head. And of course, I mean, all restrictions kind of got thrown aside that night because we was right in the middle of the COVID era, and that place was packed. I mean, they were everywhere, and that was just a fun atmosphere.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shane. Sorry about that.
The most unique, well, I got to work my first playoff games last year, and that's just a unique experience in itself. Getting to travel and see a different area that you don't normally see on a regular Friday night. Playoffs they're a different beast, that's for sure. I mean, everybody's trying to get to that game in Cookeville or this year in Chattanooga. it's something to be a part of.
You were on the sidelines for quite a few years. You were there. Now, Coach Stone, it kind of hurts my heart. You never did get on an official, did you?
Never. Do you know how lonely it is in Charleston, Tennessee on a Friday night when you got through out and you couldn't figure out why, but one of your assistant coaches behind you hollered at the official and said, "That's stupid." It's lonely out there on that Highway 11. No, I appreciate everything they did. Yeah. I mean, that's I was a high wired coach, and you want all the calls to go for you, and as one guy talked to me one time on a Saturday morning, he said, "Coach, did all your calls go right that you sent into the ball game?" I shut it up, but I appreciate everything that those guys do, and I know it's just like Shane said, it's a hard game to officiate. I coached the offensive line for 40 years, and you're sitting there thinking, well, there's holding every play, and so anyway. But I got a little story to tell. We were playing Polk County one night, and we ran this tall sweep, and Polk County was not going to let us run that play. And our tight end, he would try to reach block so we could get out on the end. This, that, and the other. They called it. We were on about the 40-yard line. Flag, 10-yard penalty. Ran it again. Flag, 10-yard penalty. Now we're back down to the 20-yard line. We ran. I yelled out there and said, "Run it again." Guy threw the flag again. Same guy threw the flag every time. Well, they marched us all the way down to about the 6-inch line, and so I called timeout, and the guy come over there, and I said, "What are you going to do now?" I said, "We got about 3 inches to go here, and we're going to run it again." And actually, what I said, and it turned out to be pretty good. We ran a little bit different play and ran the ball inside, but you get kind of aggravated, and it's just like what you said. Baseball, the strike zone's different every day. Different officials are different, in football. And I think it's probably the hardest game in sport to call. And I stayed on them pretty good, but that's it didn't diminish my appreciation for what they did.
It's definitely a hard job.
I don't know if you guys know Larry Sales or not. Shane, did you know him?
I didn't know Larry. I've heard about him, but I didn't know him.
I called timeout one night, and Larry came over and he said, "All right, what do you want to know now?" He said, "Because it ain't going to change." But the officials are great. And that was one thing I wanted to say to Shane. There is a definite shortage of officials for high school sports, right?
Yes, there is.
And, I try to, guys that was interested in football that graduated from me, and I'd say, go out there, next year, you're 18, 19 years old, go officiate some rec ball, and this, that, and the other. And a few years ago at Fannin, we were standing there, and one of the officials said, "Hey, Coach Stone, how are you?" And I looked, and it was a defensive back that I'd had a few years ago that just loved the game and got into it, and is a super official down in Georgia now. But I try to promote guys getting into officiating because, everybody's not going to be young and run up and down that field all the time.
Yeah.
Shane, speaking of getting into officiating, what is the best way for people to, to be that are interested in officiating? What's the best way for them to either sign up or who to get into contact with?
Best way to do it, just find a local official and talk to him a little bit first before you really jump into it. The best place to start is, and I always tell people this that are interested, is find you a youth league. Make sure, work there first, see if you're even gonna like it. Because I mean, it's not for everybody. I mean, you got to have some thick skin. You got to be able to deal with coaches a little bit. You got to have a sense of humor some too, because you hear some things over there that'll get you to laugh. That's for sure. But if you do that for a year or two and you are interested, because we definitely need them. I mean, we are shorthanded. Of course, you'll go through TSSAA or Georgia or whatever their association is, and sign up through them.
I'm just glad Shane never called one of my ball games, so he has no stories to tell about me. So,
no, sir, I don't.
No, it is fun, and still friends with 99.9% of them. And I think you guys do a great job each and every Friday night.
John, if we would have had Mr. Petway on, he might have had some stories.
Petway probably would have had a story or two. That would have. We had a play one night at Copper Basin, and I tell our cornerbacks, you got to find the outermost guy toward the sideline. You got to find him. Well, my guys up in the press box was we were talking about it, and the official was way in there. The linesman was way in there, and our cornerback was way in there. Well, all of a sudden, I think it was Tennessee Temple. They drop back and throw a pass, and this kid comes out from behind the sideline. He comes out at about the 25-yard line, catches the ball, and goes for a touchdown. And I mean, I'm chewing everybody. I've got my cornerback over there chewing him. What is he doing outside of you? And he said, Coach, there was nobody outside of you. Well, where was the official? And he was telling me where the official was, and my coaches were telling me. And so the next day, the guy called me back, and he said, Coach, I missed it. He said, I really did. He said, I didn't know where the guy was. And, and we saw it on tape and everything. Of course, we got that ability to do that. But, it two passes. We all laugh about it. But the guy was in his first year refereeing high school varsity football. So, we made dumb mistakes also.
I remember that first Friday night I was on a football field. I'm sure my eyes were as big as saucers out there, nervous wreck, But it's something you have to adapt to in any sport you get into, But it's definitely fun. It's a fun atmosphere. And as far as football officiating goes, this is one thing that separates football from everything else. I think is once you get on a crew and you're with that crew every Friday night, there's a camaraderie with those men. You're working with them every Friday, and it's you're a tight knit little group out there. You've got each other's back on everything you do. Now granted, we'll get in the locker room or in the car after the game, and we'll kind of, what'd you have here? I think you missed this one, but we're there to help each other. We want each other to get better with every game that we do. But just being out there, I mean, I grew up playing football, and there was, like I said, there was just something about those Friday nights that just separated it from everything else.
The best one I ever had is a friend of mine was officiating, and I always felt bad when he was officiating one of our ball games. but just before the half, we had a controversial call. Time ran out, and we're going across, and they're going to the hospitality room in the field house, and my wife was taking care of that. So we went in the door, and I said, I was going, you cannot miss it. You got 5 or 6 guys out there. You cannot miss that call, And so the door shut as we were walking down the hallway, and he was getting ready to go over there where the officials met. And my wife said, Larry, said, if I was you, I'd just throw him out of the ball game right now and get this over with. So, even sometime your own closeness, your own family, just get him out of here and get him out of our way.
Shane, whenever I first got into baseball, you and a couple other guys kind of took me under the wing. You showed me the ropes. You let me get my feet wet. You threw me back behind the plate just about every time. But you showed me the ropes.
Can't get you back there at all now.
Hey, after this concussion, I'm telling you, I just won't be able to do it. I'm telling you. But some of the guys, who are some of the guys that kind of took you under the wing once you got to football, and how crucial is that for you to learn, really?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, I had Lance Hamilton. He took me under his wing, helped me big time. Actually, the referee on my crew now, Keith Deacon, he was a big help to me. Still is. I mean, me and Keith text and talk all the time about different situations and things. Gino Fry, he was an R that really helped me out. Gino was probably harder on me than a lot of them were. I mean, I worked quite a few Fridays with Gino as an associate, and he'd jump my hind end if I wasn't doing something right, and I really appreciated that. I mean, I want to do it right. That's why I'm out there. It's only fair to the kids and to the coaches. They're putting in all the work, and then we as officials need to go out there on Friday night and bust our hump and do it right while we're out there. Are we going to get everything? No, we're gonna miss some stuff. We're human beings, but there's no excuse for laziness. There's no excuse for not hustling and getting in position and trying to get the call. But I had quite a few guys that really took me under their wing and helped me out a lot, that got me to where I am now.
That's great. And Shane, we want to thank you for coming on the podcast. And like we said, officials don't get enough credit. Without officials, the game wouldn't be on. I know North Georgia's having an official shortage, having to move games Thursday night and Saturday, Monday even. So without the officials, the game wouldn't go on. But a thank you to not only you, but all the guys in the association. I mean, it's, like we said, thankless job, and we appreciate you coming on the podcast and taking some time out of your night. I know you've had a long day at work, so I appreciate
unusual.
Shane, one thing I
work all day and then go to the field.
One thing I'd like to say about officials: if it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't have been able to do what I love to do as a coach for 40 years.
Yep.
And I tip my hat off to you guys. You do a great job.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Shane, thanks for coming on, and hopefully we'll have some other guys from the association on later on down the road. And thanks for everything, Shane.
Thank you.
Yep.
Shane, thank you.
Shane Rowe, local TSSAA official, and like we said, guys, just games don't go on without officials, and it's good to get an official's perspective because everybody's yelling at them. Let's be honest, everybody's yelling at them, but without them, you just couldn't play the game. You really just couldn't.
Well, and one other group that it kind of parallels the first segment with the Red Zone guys, and this one is not just the coaches and the players, but the fans up in the stands or around the track or wherever. They could be just as brutal as Coach Stone was to those guys for sure. So No, but I mean, it really is. It's like you're trying to do the best you can, make the right call. You may not have the right angle. You're having to rely on the guy like a back judge. If you don't have a good angle, you're going back to him. So like we talked about, it is a thankless job, and I mean, we're all guilty of questioning things that have gone on in front of us, but you also step back and be like, hey, maybe he didn't see it from the angle I'm at because he's on the backside. So I mean, like you said, thankless all across the board, but definitely needed for sure.
One of the things that I learned, through time is those guys have they have families, they work, they don't sit in a dark room and look at video of what you're doing. And they come walking out on the field and they say, okay, coach, is there anything you're going to do tonight that, might catch us off guard? And you got about 30 seconds there and you're saying, oh, yeah, we're going to move this tackle over here, and then we're going to have a split in over here and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, they got to process that in a hurry. And it doesn't mean nothing's wrong with them. It's just, I've worked on it for 4 days or 5 days. They've heard about it for 30 seconds. And it may be something that just pops up out there, just out of the wild blue. And I've had officials call and say, hey, we missed that on the way down the mountain. We missed that. We missed that call. And, I appreciate that. I mean, but you guys do a great job. And I know Wes is in it. You guys do a great job. And I appreciate all of them.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for including me in that. I appreciate that. I really do. We're going to take a quick commercial break. There will be a real quick segment to end the show on some scores from last week and then just previewing a few games this week. So we'll be right back on the Friday Night Press Box presented by Team FYN Sports. Welcome back to the Southeast Tennessee Friday Night Press Box presented by Team FYN Sports. Guys, a good week last week. Jeff, you have those scores from last week, correct?
I do. I could just rattle off just a few of the major ones.
Just the major ones there.
The game we were at for our Coca-Cola Red Zone Game of the Week actually turned out to be a really good game between Silverdale and Boyd Buchanan. Silverdale scores a touchdown late in the fourth quarter to get a 33-29 win over Boyd Buchanan. It's the second win that the Seahawks have had over Boyd Buck in school history, so that was a big win for them. Ray County defeated Ottawa 35-7. A game we talked about last week between McCallie and Knox Catholic, two of the better teams in Division II AAA. McCallie continued their dominance like we talked about. Knox Catholic still looking for that first win. It was a 44-7 Blue Tornado victory over the Irish. So they're going to be tough to beat. They're definitely the favorite to make it here for the state championship game for sure. Kind of a surprising score here, guys. Central defeated Red Bank 23-21. So Central kind of turned some heads around here. The Central Purple Panthers, not the men's Central Chargers there, Wes, but yeah, just a huge win.
Go ahead and tell that score, by the way.
Oh, I don't know if we have time for that score right here. Just looking down the list here.
Fine, I'll say it. McMinn Central 20, Brainerd 18. The first time since 2016, McMinn Central's won back-to-back games.
That's a big thing for sure. And, Coach Moody, like we talked about, is definitely getting things turned around, and it can only go up and up from here. So just a couple more real quick before we move on to the next one. Just a couple ones that jumped off the page. We talked about last week, guys, I just lost my place. Marion County, Bledsoe County game, guys. A big 2A undefeated matchup between those two region favorites. Marion County goes to Bledsoe County and gets a 21-point victory, 31-10 over the Battle of the Warriors. Marion County defeated Bledsoe, so big win for Coach Pruitt's squad over there in Jasper. And and another team that we're going to talk about, I'm sure, this week. South Pittsburgh had a very tough week last week. with the coaching change, Coach Jones going back to Canada and the CFL. It didn't seem to matter for the Pirates. They went out there and defeated Whitwell 49-3. Not surprising, but it's good to keep that momentum going because they got a big game with another close rival we'll talk about coming up in this week's preview.
Yep, talking a little bit about that preview. The first game I've got on my list, South Pittsburgh and North Jackson. North Jackson's out of Alabama. Jeff, talk a little bit about that game.
It's a perfect segue. That's also our Coca-Cola Red Zone game of the week. And, obviously, when you talk about rivals with South Pittsburgh, you obviously are going to go to the Marion counties of the world, the Whitwells of the world. Those are all in the same county. Well, people kind of forget that North Jackson is right across the state line from South Pittsburgh. So it's the first time these teams have ever played. So that's another angle where we're going as well. How many times are you going to get to see a first in South Pittsburgh football history? Very, very few and far between. This is going to be one of them, taking on North Jackson on Friday at North Jackson. It's going to be a great atmosphere. North Jackson's played Marion County a few times in history, but the first time they're playing the Pirates. So looking forward to a great atmosphere between those two because I know South Pitt's going to bring a ton of people, and I'm sure North Jackson's going to turn out. The Stevenson, Alabama community will turn out as well.
Absolutely. A couple in-county rivalry games here. Walker Valley is at Cleveland. Walker Valley and Cleveland will be a good matchup. Walker Valley 4-1, Cleveland 4-1. Coach Stone, Coach Akins, and Walker Valley go on the road last week and get a win up in Knoxville. And now they come back to play the crosstown rival.
I think that's going to be a great game between the Raiders and the Mustangs. And, Cleveland is explosive. I haven't seen them in person, but they are explosive. I think Walker Valley, just kind of what do you say, stumped their toe against Bradley a little bit and didn't have as good a game as I'm sure they wanted. But I think this is going to be one of the better football games in our area.
Obviously, I think it is the true game of the week for this area for sure. Because looking over at Cleveland, you're talking about players, coach. Their running back Tito Boyd had over 300 yards rushing last week in their victory over Farragut. So they have skill positions in the backfield. They have a skill position on the edge there with Destin Thomas and one guy that I saw when they took on Bradley Central. His name. The O'Brien kid, he's all over the field, plays both sides of the ball. Tate O'Brien, definitely a very, very important piece of that Blue Raider team, and they're going to have to rely on him and those playmakers on offense to go toe-to-toe with Coach Aiken's squad. And here, it's also important to note that Walker Valley has a game next week at home against Ray County, and that game will likely decide the number one slot in that region because as we talked about, McMinn County, Ottawa, and Howard are kind of down compared to those two teams. So that game next week, will be a big one for sure. So I kind of want to see. They're not going to overlook another county rival. Let's just be honest. But it'd be tough knowing that likely a region title is on the line next week. But yeah, it'd be the best game of the week on Friday for sure. I think
it's going to be definitely a good game. Another in-county rivalry. Loudon goes on the road to Greenback. Greenback, they had the state championship runs a few years ago. Greenback's not Greenback of old. Loudon, I feel like Loudon will roll pretty heavily against Greenback there. Let's see here. Kingston plays host to Campbell County. Clinton goes on the road to Chattanooga Central. McMinn County goes on the road to East Hamilton. That'll be a good game there. McMinn Central plays host to Meigs County. McMinn Central, a good team or a decent team. They're not Meigs County good. Meigs County, that's not going to be fun to watch. I'm just going to be honest with you.
I think McMinn Central is getting better.
I do too.
And it was very evident. They've played, 3 straight 2-point games?
Yeah.
Lost 2 of them, won 1.
Yep.
That's pretty nerve-wracking. But I think they're getting better. And, I think they found another running back last week in Ray. Is that? Yeah,
a freshman, Ray McCarty.
Ray McCarty.
I think he had 4 carries, 30 yards in his first touchdown as a Central Charger. So
I want to say right now, and I don't know, I just because my feelings go out to McCain Baker.
Yeah.
That was a blow.
Yeah, McCain ended up breaking his leg on the road at Polk County. We really didn't think anything about it. He hobbled off the field. I mean, he was putting pressure on his leg. Ended up.
He was playing good.
I
thought he was really playing good the first 3 or 4 ball games of the season. That was a big blow to McMinn Central.
You finally get Jarrell back from injury, and then you lose McCain Baker. It's tough, but another thing, Novice Cox went out with injury last week, starting quarterback for Central. Something with the shoulder. That's a throwing shoulder. He was in a sling. But Gabe Massengale came in. Fun fact about Gabe did not join the team until the Polk County week. Doesn't know the plays. He's got a good arm, though. He goes out there and he throws a touchdown pass to go up 20-18. Or 19-18, and then the extra point made it 20-18. And that's Gabe Massengale's first action. He had been on the team for 2 weeks. He's the backup quarterback. I'm not sure if Novice is a go this week. If not, it'll be Gabe Massengale's team on Friday night against
Mexico. 2 years ago, Gabe's dad was a quarterback for me at McMinn Central. And 2 years ago, we were at a basketball jamboree, and I got to watching Gabe run around on the basketball court. And after it was over, he come up there and I said, "You play basketball or football?" He said, "No." And I said, "You need to. I mean, you've got all the tools. You're a smart kid and athletic and everything." So the other night when I turned it on and I heard he was in the game, I didn't know that Novice was hurt. But I think I'm not putting Gabe down, but I hope Novice is okay and they got some quarterbacks, because this is going to be a pretty physical football game.
It is. Yeah, it really is.
Just a couple more matchups. I know we're getting close to the end of the show. I just kind of want to throw out there that maybe games to look at on Friday. Now you're thinking a 2-2 Sequatchie County squad going on to hosting Bledsoe County at home this week. Well, after starting out 0-2 with losses to South Pittsburgh and Marion County, 2 good teams, for sure there. But they've won their last 2 games pitching shutouts defensively. So kind of want to see if Bledsoe's able to kind of get off the mat after experiencing their first loss of the year, or Sequatchie County with their new head coach is able to kind of keep that momentum going. I think that's an intriguing matchup between those two as well. And then one more, the team that Justin and I saw on Friday, Silverdale, they are playing a team out of Nashville, Donaldson Christian Academy. Guys, they're coming in 5-0. Silverdale is undefeated as well, so I think it's one of the only few undefeated matchups in this area this week. And Donaldson Christian is averaging over, I think it's over 40 points a game. So between what Silverdale showed us against Boyd Buchanan, they've been putting up points all year long. It definitely will be some points to be seen there at Silverdale on Friday night. So there's just 2 kind of under the radar games I think everybody should kind of keep an eye on as Friday night rolls on.
Yeah, guys, it's going to be a good week, and it was a good show. We were able to have the Red Zone crew on, which lightened some things up, and we had a good time. And we've really been all serious, all football talk, every podcast. But it was good to have a little laughter and throw some light times in there. And then we had, of course, we're able to have an official on, and it was good to pick an official's mind and really get their side of the ball, and then obviously our games of the week and everything. So another good show.
We need to hang on every week for about 5 minutes anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Lighten it up, buddy.
I mean, I at one point in time, I just kept looking up, and I just watched Coach Stone's smile get bigger and bigger, and my eyes start laughing. Man, it was good to have them on. I don't know how you deal with them, Jeff K.
Well, it's a labor of love and involves a lot of patience. Let's just say that, and a lot of thick skin, kind of like the officials, a lot of thick skin for sure. But it's a good time. So definitely tune in 8 to 11 on Talk Radio 102.3. And, we have all the scores. We'll have updates from our game of the week in North Jackson and South Pittsburgh. So it'll be a good Friday night, like you said, Wes, for sure.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for listening to. Be sure to like and share and subscribe, and not subscribe. I say that every week, guys. I do. I really do. Like, share, and that's it. Don't subscribe because we don't. You can subscribe to the podcast. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast. It'll be on there. if Tim Tao will ever load those. I don't know if he listens to this or not, but I'm going to take a shot at him. Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast. Like, share. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock, like we said, we record this on Wednesdays to be aired on Thursdays at 5 o'clock on Facebook and Twitter. Guys, that's been the Southeast Tennessee Friday Night